Terror in the Golden State, the chilling reign of the Golden State Killer. California, a state known for sunshine, surf, and Hollywood glamour, became the stage for one of the most terrifying crime sprees in American history during the 1970s and 1980s. Over a decade, an unknown assailant terrorized communities from Sacramento to Orange County, leaving behind a trail of sexual assaults, murders, and psychological scars that would haunt victims and investigators for decades. For years, he was known by many names: the East Area Rapist, the Original Night Stalker, the Visalia Ransacker. But decades later, the world would know him by a single chilling moniker: the Golden State Killer. The nightmare began in the summer of 1976 in Rancho Cordova, a quiet Sacramento suburb. A masked man broke into homes late at night, tying up his victims, often couples, before sexually assaulting the women while their partners lay helpless nearby. He spoke through clenched teeth, brandished weapons, and demonstrated an eerie knowledge of his victims' lives. By the time 1979 arrived, he had committed over 50 rapes across Northern California. But just as suddenly as he appeared, the rapist vanished from the Sacramento area. The crimes continued, however, escalating in horror. In Southern California, couples were brutally murdered in their homes, often bludgeoned or shot in eerily similar patterns. Law enforcement began to piece together that these crimes were not isolated. They were the work of the same man. The violence intensified as the 1980s progressed. The Golden State Killer, as he would later be dubbed, left behind little forensic evidence. He was methodical, intelligent, and calculating. He entered homes through sliding doors or windows, sometimes removing window screens in advance or disabling porch lights. In some cases, he even made phone calls to his victims before and after the assaults, whispering chilling threats. Despite composite sketches, behavioral profiles, and thousands of man-hours spent on the case, he always stayed one step ahead. The trail went cold by 1986 after the murder of 18-year-old Janelle Cruz in Irvine. The case remained unsolved for over 3 decades. The advent of DNA testing in the 1990s allowed cold case detectives to connect the East Area Rapist and the Original Night Stalker, two criminals once thought to be separate, but without a name or face, the mystery endured. Everything changed in 2018. Using a controversial but groundbreaking method known as genetic genealogy, investigators uploaded DNA from a crime scene to a public ancestry database. They traced distant relatives of the suspect and constructed a family tree. Their search led them to Joseph James D'Angelo, a 72-year-old former police officer living in a Sacramento suburb. On April 24, 2018, he was arrested outside his home. D'Angelo, who had lived an unassuming life as a mechanic and grandfather, was now accused of being the Golden State Killer. In 2020, D'Angelo pled guilty to 13 counts of first-degree murder and admitted to committing numerous rapes and other crimes for which the statute of limitations had expired. The plea deal spared him the death penalty, but ensured he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. During his sentencing hearing, survivors and family members of the victims confronted him in court, sharing emotional testimonies about the pain he inflicted. Many expressed relief that justice had finally been served, even decades later. The Golden State Killer case reshaped the landscape of forensic investigation and cold case work. It highlighted both the horror of a criminal who evaded capture for decades and the unrelenting determination of survivors, journalists, and detectives who refused to let the case fade into obscurity. Among those instrumental in reigniting public interest was true crime writer Michelle McNamara, whose book, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, published posthumously in 2018, brought renewed attention to the case. Her work is widely credited with energizing the investigation that led to D'Angelo's arrest. California may have moved on from the fear that once gripped its neighborhoods, but the echoes of the Golden State Killer's crimes remain. His story is a harrowing reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the most familiar places and the power of perseverance to bring light to even the coldest cases. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stick around for more. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.